Hey friends, so after making Ember's video, I decided that I wanted to make a little guide, I guess. I don't want to call it a tutorial because it's not really a tutorial, but I kind of just wanted to show you guys the process of how I animate because I thought it was cool to share, so why not? This actually isn't even limited to Minecraft. I used to animate a lot of Roblox as well. I'm gonna pull up something I made before on screen, and I'm not gonna play the audio because it's gonna get copyrighted. So the plugin I use to import the characters is called mcprep. I'll leave a link to the playlist on how to basically use it, and everything else is basically explained there. But I wanted to show you guys how I do it. So I actually hope that this will actually give you guys some insight on the little animation techniques I use. Obviously, I'm not a professional at all. I've just been doing it for a long time, and I feel like I found a style that works best for me, or at least something that I like. But I kind of just wanted to give that little thought process of how I do things. So the rig I like using for my animations is usually just the simple player because I don't really like messing around with facial animations, like mouth movements, eye movements. That's not really my thing. Yeah, as you can see, there's like a whole face rig, and I don't really like messing around with that. I prefer making textures. I'm gonna pull this up from Ember's video, but it's basically like some segments where she blinks, and that's obviously just me editing the textures. Because for my animations, I prefer to have it as similar to the game as possible. You'll notice from my animations that I don't really move the elbows as much or the knees. I wanted to keep it as similar to the game as possible without making it look too uncanny, I guess. Somewhat, if that makes sense to you guys. So I guess for this video, I'm just gonna do something really simple. Let me think. I guess I'll do a walk cycle. That's like the easiest thing I can do right now. For some people, walk cycles are actually pretty difficult, but I actually think it's one of the easiest things to animate in my opinion, because you're basically just cloning keyframes once you've already gotten the first part down. Let me try to simplify this so you guys can actually understand. So what I usually like to start with in my walk cycles is the passing position, where basically both legs are on the opposite sides of each other. So one leg's in front, one leg's in the back. If you want, you can actually follow along with me. It's actually a really nice practice to do this kind of stuff, so I definitely recommend it. So once you have this contact pose, you're basically just gonna mirror it, but a couple keyframes over. And in between those two contact poses, we have the passing position, which is basically when the back leg crosses and passes over the front one. So you can see here that this front leg right here is moving backwards and this one is moving forwards. And we want to create that little arc at the middle where it kind of just goes up like this. And with that, it already looks pretty good so far. Now, all we have to do is duplicate the first contact and then do the passing position with this leg now, since it's the one that's going forwards this time. Now I like to move on to the upper body, specifically the arms. I like doing the torso last. I'm not sure why, it just works much easier for me. It makes it a little bit easier to visualize, in my opinion. Once you have the arms moving, then you can just start moving the torso. But people work differently, so if you want to do the arms last, that's totally up to you, but this is just how I do it. For the arms on the contact pose, you would usually have it at the opposite side of the leg, because it looks a little less awkward, in my opinion. Whenever you see Minecraft players move, you'll see it. So for a contact position, both arms should be opposite, like I said, and then let's move these both over on the next contact position, and then just copy and paste them like so. So now you have something like this, which isn't that bad, but it can be better, which is why we're going to start adding a little more movement, starting with the torso. During the contact position, it should usually be at the neutral point. In a sense, it shouldn't really be neither lower or higher. It's kind of just in the middle. But as soon as you hit the passing position, that's when you would usually put the torso up, because this leg also goes up. It just makes sense to do that. And do the same thing here. And that already looks really good. Now, honestly, you could already leave it as this. This looks pretty decent. But right now, this looks really robotic. Like, it could be better. So let's see how to give this animation a little bit more character. The first thing I'm gonna do is kind of flail her arms. I'm not really sure if that's the right word for it, but I'm just gonna have them be a little further apart from the actual body. I find that it makes it look much better. I'm actually gonna make the arm in front go inwards because I feel like that makes a little more sense. Just with the arms alone, that actually already gave it a lot of character. But this clipping looks a little off, so I'm gonna add like a little in between where it kind of goes a little bit outwards, just so it doesn't look like it clips. Now I think we could mess around a little bit with the torso. It just looks really flat right now, so I feel like we could do something with it. I'm thinking doing a little rotation where she sways a little bit to the left and right. I'm also going to try some head movement here. And I feel like I'm actually going to add a little tilt to this part of the torso to make it look a little more realistic.